Gallimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Only just. It's been a bit of a a relaxing morning this morning, getting sorted out. Jane's obviously off to the shipwreck today, taking her guests up there. She's up there for most of today, and I think she goes from there to the airport. So today, the weather then, looking absolutely glorious blue skies with some cloud. Few little ominous clouds up there, but as yet we still haven't had this rain that was forecasted. Be interesting to see if they have a little bit of rain up at the north end of the island when Jane goes up on the old trip, as happened last week. But other than that, yeah, it's absolutely glorious. Thank you to Amanda for her weather forecast today. She says, morning Ginge, Monday's weather, it's going to be 32, but will feel like 36. And can I also say happy anniversary to you and Alan as well, celebrating your wedding anniversary today. So I hope you have a lovely day, nice and relaxed and nice and chilled. But anyway, that's the look at the real estate this morning. It's looking absolutely glorious, still very hot. The little chickens are running about as always. Grass is looking parched, looking like it could do with some rain on there, just to put a bit of colour back into the area. Right, I'm going to go back inside and do the podcast from inside where it's a little bit cooler. Can I just say thank you to everybody last night? What a great night in Magdalena's we had last night. Again, we were very busy. When I sent you that, when I put that little video clip up of Alan singing, absolutely fantastic voice doing Tennessee Whiskey, we just got busier and busier after that. Again, a lot of Dutch turning up, French turning up as well, French karaoke last night as well as Dutch. And also a bit weird with some people put tickets in, but then felt intimidated to go and sing, which was a bit weird. Can I just say to the mum whose daughters put tickets in, and then mum sang with one daughter, and I think it put the rest of them off about coming to sing, bless them. And she was having little words with them saying, well, you did say you were going to do it and now you're not going to do it. Well, the upshot was I had to sing quite a few songs last night, and it's the first time I'd sung quite a few songs since my voice started to play up. And yeah, it seemed to be getting better and better. So anyway, I'm not out of the woods yet as far as my voice is concerned, but yeah, I managed to keep the night going, and it was a great night. Can I just say thank you to all those people who came searching me out yesterday as well, who just arrived. Big shout out to Noel Esther, was one of the people who came to see me last night. Sorry I didn't stick around to have a good chat with you fella at the end of the night, but thank you for coming up and thanking me for the podcast. Could I also thank the other lovely couple that were in early last night as well? I've forgotten your names, I do apologise. Thank you for your comments as well. We had a really, really good discussion about everything that had been going on, and the interesting thing was to learn that that the guy was not vaccinated, and that was that was interesting to talk to somebody from the UK who wasn't vaccinated but filled the criteria, and then obviously came here on holiday. So again, that does bode well. And as we were talking about last night, we're just waiting to see that September goes ahead without any real problems or hassle as well. Also, can I just say quick shout out to Shane Bowen as well. Thank you yesterday as well. It was nice to be able to be in the chat room on my show, listening to the Northern Soul show and being able to interact with people as well. That was fantastic. I'm thinking the show's getting repeated today at 7 o'clock UK time, where you can listen to 2 hours of great Northern Soul recorded in Magdalena's, and obviously enjoy that style of music. And also Beach Radio as well today, still doing bank holiday broadcasting. Obviously the UK are having their August bank holiday weekend, and obviously today in England, and that is a bank holiday. Right, let's get down to the news then. Not too much news locally, to be quite honest. In fact, no news locally. But I'm going to quickly go to the COVID stats for the last 24 hours. It seems that COVID infections have gone down quite dramatically within the last 24 hours. You might remember yesterday it was 3,064. That has dropped down to 1,582 new infections across the country. There were 15 new cases identified after checks into the country. That number was down as well on the 28th on the previous day. Now, when it comes to islands of interest, the numbers there do seem to be on the decline at the moment. First of all, Mykonos, who we kind of take a lead from whenever we get shut down, their infection rate has dropped. Their infection rate has gone up slightly. They had 11 yesterday. Today, they are reporting 18 new cases on that island. When it comes to Rhodes, they've had a right drop in figures. 83 was the number yesterday for them. 41 new infections on there today. Lefkada, the little island just up the road from us, here in the Ionian, they had 28 new infections yesterday, and today they have had 11 new infections. Corfu, interestingly, they're an island that, to be honest, have had a high epidemiology rate in comparison to us, but have seemed to have crept under the radar with the authorities. But anyway, their epidemiology has gone down. Yesterday, we reported 68 cases there, and today it is 31 new cases, so that is a drop. Kefalonia has also had a slight drop from 8 on yesterday to 7 today. And as for Zakynthos, we've had a drop as well, thank God, from 12 new cases identified here on the island down to 8 new cases that have been identified. So far then, Zakynthos still in the month of August. We've got another today and tomorrow for August to go. We've had 1,143 positive cases here on the island since the beginning of the year. And this month alone, we've had 376 cases for the month of August as well. So don't forget, we still got today, we still got tomorrow to go to see where the number will finally end up. When it comes to deaths at the moment, deaths have gone up slightly here in Greece. 35 was reported yesterday. Today, there's been 37 new deaths across the country. That brings the death toll now since the pandemic started to 13,636. And again, 96% of them had underlying health conditions or were over the age of 70. And again, our deepest condolences to people that have lost family or friends at this time. And also just a quick reminder that for this month of August, Zakynthos has had 2 deaths through coronavirus. One was a 44-year-old man who was obviously very young, and I'd also been told that he hadn't been vaccinated, and also a 77-year-old man had also passed away as well in August. So again, our condolences to those families as well. Anyway, critical cases then at the moment, they are going up, but ever so slightly. Yesterday I reported 333 critical cases in ICUs across Greece. Today it's 334, 196 male and 138 female. So there you go. That is the stats for today. Right, now the news then. The Greek government is reported mulling over alternative scenarios for mandatory COVID-19 vaccinations in the event that the goal of 1 million new shots is not achieved soon. Anyway, apart from extending the obligation to more professional categories, the introduction of age criteria is also being considered, and this would apply to people over the age of 50 to the 55 age group, which is not me, thank God. Anyway, who are professionally active and are more likely to be hospitalized if they contract the virus. Now, at the same time, a plan has been drafted to fill gaps in personnel that will be created by the suspension of health workers who have refused to get vaccinated. And if you remember, from the 1st of September, any health worker who hasn't been vaccinated, basically, they can't go to work, all right? Now, this will entail the fast-tracking procedure with 3-month and 6-month recruitment contracts to obviously fill those gaps where those people are not being able to work because the government says you haven't had your mandatory vaccination. Moreover, in order to attract, now this is the real crux one. Moreover, in order to attract interest the health ministry will offer bonus points that will work in favour of candidates in future competitions for permanent public sector jobs. So what they're saying is that if you get vaccinated and you basically fill the job of somebody who doesn't want to get vaccinated working in the healthcare centre, in the medical area, you're going to get special priority, it seems, if you as the vaccinated person wants that job permanently, and obviously to take that job from that person who was probably quite happily doing a fantastically good job, unvaccinated, with people around them that were vaccinated, who had no problem with that person working with them. And obviously now the only people that's going to suffer are the patients and obviously the person who has to do the job, who's now deemed unsafe now to be around people because they're unvaccinated. And then the other little crux of the matter now is we're going to give the person who's taken your job special dispensation to maybe keep your job after a 3-month short contract or even a 6-month short contract, unless, of course, you get your jab and then you can go back to work. And there are people I know now who are feeling the pressure that they have to mandatory now go and vaccinate. Anyway, let's move on. An interesting story again. Now, this is coming from the Greek press, all right, the Greek public press, okay. Clashes have taken place with anti-vaxxers after a rally in Athens in Syntagma Square on Sunday evening. Now, according to the reports I've been reading, I've not read any other reports from any more independent reports, shall we say. At the end of the rally, after the speeches had finished, some youths attacked the police with bottles and they replied with tear gas and flash grenades at the demonstrators. Also, water cannon had to be deployed to push the protesters away from the square. And the police estimated that the protest was between 7,000 to 8,000 people. And that's the only information that has been given at the moment, reference the anti-vaccination campaign. Can I just reiterate this? There's a difference between an anti-vaxxer and an anti-compulsory vaccinator, all right? And I really want people to understand, yes, there will be anti-vaxxers, anarchists who don't believe in anything, that are just out to cause trouble. And unfortunately, Greece does have an element of anarchists within it. Whenever there is a demonstration or something like that, you're going to get what I can only describe as the bloody idiots who are going to turn up, who are just intent on riding on the coattails of somebody's legitimate protest just to create mayhem and create trouble. And the joke is, the police are very aware of who these people are, and normally they can nip things in the bud by lifting these people so they don't turn up at these demonstrations. But sometimes you feel like there's a kind of little gentleman's agreement where, oh, we like you guys to turn up a bit, cause a bit of trouble, good PR press on the old wash up at the end. If all the protests go off peacefully, it doesn't kind of justify us having to work the overtime or whatever, or it makes the day boring. So can I just say this? There's a difference between an anti-vaxxer and there is a difference between an anti-compulsory vaccinator. They are the people that really are out there just making it aware that this is a point of freedom of choice. This is a point of your right to choose whether you have something that you want or you don't want, rather than having it forced upon you through intimidation, through threats of loss of employment, through basically lied. It's all to save your health. And also, lastly now, it looks like more bribery on the way of taking your job off you, giving it to somebody else because you refuse to comply. And the person that takes your job, they're being rewarded with extra bonus points. It sounds like a bloody game show, doesn't it? But anyway, let me just make that point clear. And then when you read about what's going on next with the Greek government, the Greek cabinet at the moment are waiting for a reshuffle, which could happen any time today on Monday, when the Prime Minister Mitsotakis returns from the US. Yes, he's coming back with his daughter. She seems to be, or is going to be, a freshman at Yale University over there. So she's not attending a Greek university. She's going to one of the top, or the top, American university. And again, I'm just trying to think of rules of entry, quarantine. I know America were very anti people coming from Europe, etc., etc. But I suppose as Greek Prime Minister, you don't worry about things like that because you're living in a different social circle to everybody else. Anyway, that's by the by. Anyway, the minister, and he's obviously in charge of the New Democracy Party, he's expected to be reshuffling his government, and a press conference about the disastrous wildfires have obviously struck a chord with him as well. And he did a bit of a mini reshuffle a bit earlier on, but subsequently there is talk now that there's going to be a major reshuffle because basically he wants to get things back on track. I'm not going to go into who's getting shuffled where or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it until it happens. One thing that I do know is that after this year's traumatic experience of the wildfires, the Prime Minister, the Greek Prime Minister, is reportedly intent on changing everything regarding the structures and methods and means and personnel when it comes to fighting forest fires. Anyway, Mitsotakis has insisted that the preemptive measures that were taken ahead of the fire season this summer, but acknowledged that they proved insufficient. Given that Greece is already experiencing the impact of the climate crisis, put on top of that the idiots that want to just go out and watch the flames dance and set fire to everything, who obviously are in the mix there as well. All these fires didn't just magically appear because of climate change. They just basically made it a bit drier for it to be easier for these people to do their little mischief. Anyway, the disposal of the state apparatus has been described as woefully inadequate. Now, to end the upgrading capabilities, the government has already decided to implement a series of measures. Now, these include the creation of a special corps of 500 specially trained firefighters that will operate in forest areas to deal with fires before they reach the infrastructure networks. Now, this plan foresees the creation of this force by January. So it looks like there's going to be more work for firemen here. They'll obviously have to be vaccinated because firemen have to be vaccinated if they want to work in the fire service. It's a public sector job. Anyway, moreover, responsibilities will be decentralised with the forestry service placed under a centralised control of the relevant Department of the Environment. The ministries also will introduce a method of a backfire. This entails a fire that is deliberately initiated in front of an active front in order to control. This is an Australian type of firefighting method that they use, that basically you start one fire in one way to stop the major fire coming up. So basically you're cutting off a fuel supply for the major fire that's coming from behind. So again, we'll see how that works. I can understand that working very well in likes of Australia, where you've got lots of space and lots of area. But again, it must be very, very, because again, the old phrase, fighting fire with fire, comes into mind. It'll be interesting to see how that actually works out and how that actually will run in future fires. Not that we want them to have to go to that measure, trust me. Anyway, other initiatives also include the creation of a regional civil protection centre, which will have a better picture of the specifics of each area, as well as the expansion of the firefighting fleet with more aerial means. So the old drones going up, they are being a godsend at the moment in being able to report fire, locate fire, and also in some ways even being able to fight fire. I did see some video clips of a friend of mine from the RAF regiment, warrant officer there, who's part of drone technology, and was showing the uses of firefighting drones, which could put fires out in buildings, like coordinated, sort of going down, and quite impressive to watch one of these operations in progress. So again, that's an interesting little thing to look out for in the future here in Greece. Anyway, he also said again, what's more, firefighting will receive training in new forest fire surveillance and fire detection systems and technologies, mainly through drones. with the demarcation of anti-fire zones being more efficient. But changes are also expected in the leadership of the fire brigade, which are expected to be announced by early September. So again, there's a few people probably going to lose their jobs over what's happened during the summer, and it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to change the leadership at the top as well. And finally, an interesting story. It seems a Brazilian woman has been sentenced to 31 years in prison for planning the murder of her husband, who was the former Greek ambassador to Brazil. Now, in 2006, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, as his charred remains were found in the boot of a burnt-out car in Rio de Janeiro. His wife, this is her name, his wife, Francois de Souza Oliveira, had been having an affair with a military police officer, Sergio Gomes. Gomes later confessed to killing the ambassador at the behest of his lover and had been jailed for 22 years. At the end of a 3-day trial, the judge described the crime as bestial. Another man called Aguado Maria Tescaki Del Mero, he was a relative of the policeman. He was acquitted of murder, but had actually served 1 year in prison for helping to hide the body of the ambassador. Anyway, Mr. Amidas, 59, served as the consular in Rio de Janeiro from 2001 to 2004, and then returned to Brazil as the ambassador, and he was killed later that year. He married Francois in 2004. The couple also had a daughter as well. Now, before his death, Mr. Amidas had travelled to the capital of Brasilia, to the east of Nova Aguada, north of Rio, to spend Christmas holidays with his wife and her parents. Mr. Amidas first reported him missing. Mrs. Amidas first reported him missing, telling police that he'd left their flat without explanation and had driven off in a rental car. Anyway, the burnt-out car was found the next day under a flyover with the ambassador's body inside it. Investigators found bloodstains, however, on the sofa in the flat where the couple had been staying, and it was believed that he was killed there before his body was taken away and obviously burned in the car. So there you go. That's the stories at the moment that are making the interest here in Greece. Quick shout out to all those people that are having a quick look in. Big shout out to lovely Lyndon down in Wales. Paul Green as well. Also, Ben Warner, nice to have you tuning in as well, buddy. You were busy yesterday, that's all I can say. I hope things are going well. And just a quick one, Northern Soul show being broadcast today at 7 o'clock. And also, I've put in next week's Dance Anthem show into the server if you haven't already got it. All right, fella? Nikos Perandes is watching as well. Nice to have you tuning in. Trezaran Huggett says, we have had an amazing holiday. Glad I had a chance to meet with you earlier in the week. Was a little different in Magdalena's, as we of course had to stick to the rules and sit downstairs, as we and my family are not all vaccinated. Bless you. He said, thank you to the staff and for making us feel very, very welcome as well. Love to you all. Thank you for that, Trezaran. It was lovely to meet you as well. It's always nice when you do get to meet people who tune into the show. And thank you for your comments about the broadcast, about how they've helped you, how they've made you make decisions as to whether to come on holiday or not. And I think it's been really interesting that I feel very privileged that people listen to what I have to say, will make a decision and will act upon that decision, whether you come or whether you stay at home. It's the fact that you're listening and making that decision and your choice, whether you come or not. And I also do appreciate it when people come to me and say, Ginge, just to let you know, I've not been vaccinated and I stand behind what you're saying as well. And it does make me feel good that people are, doing what they want to do as their choice. And trust me, I've had people say that they've had the vaccination and have regretted having it as well. So again, thank you for listening to what I have to say. Big shout out to Gary Crowder. Nice for you. Cheers for your little update on the what's his name, Mr. Perry. I thought he already passed anyway, Mr. Luke Perry. I had a lot of his real deep dub reggae. I used to have a really good box set of that stuff, which unfortunately I lost over the years. Steve Thompson is also tuning in. Barbara Croker is also, she says morning. Patsy Ann Dobson says good morning, Ginge, from a dreary Margate weather. Oh, it's wet and windy in Margate. Oh, bless you. Oh, I love Margate. I really do. Natalie Hunt is also tuning in. She says, morning, Jane. Shane Bowen is watching there up on Exmoor. Thank you, fella. Joan Simpson. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for the comments. I'll keep my ear to the ground. If I hear of anything, trust me, I will let you know. Once again, I have not been able to upload anything onto YouTube at the moment. YouTube at the moment is just proving to be a complete and utter nightmare, and the backlog of stuff to go up on there. Can I also say a quick shout out to the Greece's bulletin board as well, to the lovely Lorraine on there. Again, I'm really sorry that I haven't been able to, obviously, to upload stuff onto your page as well, because I'm at the mercy of what YouTube does. And again, please tell your people to come and join me live on my Facebook page, and then obviously we can keep the momentum going on your page as well through that. But anyway, hopefully the internet might start working a bit. I wouldn't be surprised these fires have had a hand in it as well, with making internet access not as good because of damage to the infrastructure of the internet here in Greece as well. Right, that's it from me. Oh, can I just say a big shout out to Andrew the Fridge Watkins. Lovely to meet you. No, it was Geach. It was Andrew Geach. Sorry, I do apologise. Andrew Geach, thank you as well for coming and saying hello the other night as well. Again, another person who listens into the show. And it's really nice to put a face to the name as well when they pop in and say hi. Again, and if I do say who are you, I'm not being rude. I just don't know who you are, because I don't know your face. Anyway, thanks for that. I'm going to disappear away now. Got bills to pay this morning. One of them being phone and internet bill. Want to get that paid so I can stay online. Anyway, I'll catch you later. You be good and have a great day. Ta-ra.